So you've got a website, but you really have no idea how many people are even coming to it or where they're coming from. Google Analytics is one of those foundational website tracking tools out there. It's website and tracking 101. So even if you don't personally dive into the Google Analytics data yourself, your marketer will thank you a year from now. You'll also thank yourself too when you can compare their results with the results you were getting a year ago before you hired them. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up Google Analytics super simply, and it's going to be exactly how we do it here at Evergrow for our clients. For starters, Google Analytics is a completely free tool by Google that helps you track your website engagement. There's almost no reason not to set it up. It's the industry baseline for website tracking. So even when agencies don't necessarily use Google Analytics data, they still have it installed on a site typically by default. Knowing how people are engaging with your site is imperative in anything digital marketing. So with that in mind, let's get it set up. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to go to Google Analytics. And to do that, you can either go to analytics.google.com or you can just go to the search bar, type in Google Analytics, hit enter, and then you'll hit this first option right here. And then once you're right here, really simple. All we're going to do is click on Get Started Today. It's in the top right or at the middle here. So go ahead and do that. And then from right here, we just hit Start Measuring. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're setting up the account. Under account name, what I do here, you'll see my sample is already populated here, but this is going to be the name of your business. This is what we do for our clients as well. So whatever the legal name is, that's what we're going to put here. So here I'm going to put Evergrow Landscaping. We'll pretend like we're a landscaping company. For account data and sharing, we select all of these because it just there's no reason to not share details across Google properties. So we're going to select all of that. We're going to go next. All right, your property name. This is going to be your website. It's going to include like the HTTPS and the www before the domain. So I set up an example website for this. It's called actually example.devergrow.com. It's a little pun that we have at our agency here. So this is the site that we're going to use for this example. In your case, you would use your website domain. You're just going to copy this, come back over to analytics, and drop it in. You're gonna include everything. So if it's got the HTTPS, you're gonna include that. You're gonna include this trailing slash if you got that as well. Then we're gonna change the time zone to whatever time zone you're in. I'm in Chicago, so we're gonna go to Chicago time. And then your currency to whatever your currency is. For most of our clients and our audience, it's gonna be US dollars. Then we're just gonna hit next. Okay, so for business details, it wants you to select a category, and this is just for their own reporting, so it doesn't really matter what you select here. But for all of our clients being in the landscaping and lawn care industry, we just go with home and garden. If you're a plumber or a roofer, you might still do home and garden. The other option that's closest to you is probably just going to be other business activity. And I don't even know yet. It doesn't even have you specify. So we're just going to do home and garden. And then select how many employees you have. For our clients, we just say maximum seasonal employees for landscaping and lawn care. So if you're in that industry, just think about that. I'm just going to hit small. All right, business objectives. So depending on the ones you select here, it's going to kind of craft your analytics dashboard to what it thinks you should see on there. For our clients, if your primary goal is to get leads or like local leads, then you're going to want to select the ones that I'm selecting here. If you're like a software company or if you're selling like products online or something, you might click drive sales. But for this purpose, if you're just doing local lead generation and you're just looking for local leads, then you just want generate leads. You want to understand web and or app traffic. And then you also want to get viewer user engagement retention metrics. So we're going to click that. Everything else, we just leave unchecked and we hit create. Okay, so you're going to get this pop-up here. And one thing about this is that this first pop-up, you don't actually have to accept this if you're in the US. So this is, I also accept the data processing terms as required by the GDPR. So GDPR is a whole privacy regulation over in Europe. If you're in the US, you don't have to select this. We at Evergrow, with most of our US clients, we just skip this and we just go straight down here. we hit accept the measurement controller data protection terms, and then we can just hit accept from there, and then we move on to the next step. Okay. Once here, it's going to ask you, like, what are we tracking on? This is not an Android app. It's not an iOS app. We are a website. So in here, you're going to put your website. So whatever yours is. Mine was example.evergrow.com. Leave the stream name the same. And then the website URL, just make sure you're selecting the right one here. So if it should be HTTPS, this is a whole other topic, but it should be this. If it's not, you should look at how to get this the secured protocol on your site. But otherwise, like my subdomain is example.devergrow. You might have www. You'll want to include that as well if you have that. But I don't have the www subdomain, so we're just going to go to example.devergrow. And we're going to, just type in my website here. And then we're going to create and continue. All right. And it's going to say set up Google tag. We're going to do that later. You could do it right now, but we're going to adjust some properties first. So we're going to click out of here. We're just going to click next. We're going to continue to home. So now I don't want any of these email communications. Okay. So now we're looking at our actual Google Analytics dashboard. The Google Analytics account is now set up, but it isn't recording anything. To do that, we have to do two things. First, we have to adjust some property settings. Then we just have to actually place it on the website. So let's tackle the first one. Okay, so at the bottom of the side panel here, you're going to see a gear icon that's labeled admin. We're going to click on that. Once you're here, we're going to see property settings, and then we're going to see data collection and modification. We want to go to data collection. So in here, we're going to turn on Google Signals data collection. Turn that on. And we're going to go down here and we're going to turn on this user provided data collection as well. Okay, so with these two settings that we turned on, I'll just give like a really brief explanation of why we turn these on. They're turned off by default because of tracking and privacy restrictions in certain countries. In the US, we don't really have to worry about that as much. We still have things like CCPA in California and other states that are kind of mirroring that. But in general, these settings are okay to turn on. So the first one is Google Signals data collection. And basically what that is it connects users with actual session information on your website. So it'll see if somebody's logged into a Google profile using Chrome. It'll look at their history of what they've searched, what they've viewed on YouTube, things like that. And it just gives you more tracking data in terms of where they came from and like more user behavior intent signals. The other one was user provided data collection that we turned on. So this really helps us determine whether or not people are converting or doing specific actions that we want them to do on the site. So later on in a different video, we'll talk about setting up form tracking or conversion tracking for people who are calling you or things like that. What this allows us to do is it allows us to connect a conversion action or a lead action to a very specific user. All really nerdy stuff. It doesn't really matter. The most important thing to know here is by turning these two settings on, you're going to have more accurate tracking had you kept them off. All right, so the next step is specific to our landscaping and lawn care clients because they don't have purchasers on their website, so we don't want to see purchaser data or have Google make any assumptions about users that are inaccurate simply due to the business model. So in the left navigation, we're going to go to data display, and then we're going to click on audiences. So in audiences, we're going to click on the three dots next to purchasers, and we're going to hit archive, and then we're going to hit archive one more time. All right, so now we're just looking at all users. We don't have any purchaser data coming in. There's nothing kind of clogging up our streams that aren't relevant. All right, now we're finally ready to place a tracking code and start tracking our website metrics. So this part is slightly different than how we do it at Evergrow because we place our Google Analytics script inside of a Google Tag Manager container and then put that onto the website. However, the way I'm going to show you in this video is far simpler and does the exact same thing. So for this step, I just navigated back to just kind of like our home dashboard on Google Analytics, but we do need to go back to admin here. And then in admin, we're going to go to data streams right here. In data streams, you're just going to click on the data stream that we created when we first set this account up. And then what we want to do is you can go up to here and you can hit view tag instructions. Otherwise, you can see it down here as well, which is what I'm going to click on because that's what I'm used to. But in here, this is going to load. It's going to, I think all of our client sites are on WordPress at this time. So I'm pretty sure it just scans your website and detects what it is or what CMS content management system it's built on, or website builder, as I refer to it. So it knows that our site is built on WordPress, or at least that's what it's recommending. And it's recommending that we install a plugin called Google Site Kit, which just makes it really easy to install the tracking code on the site. You can absolutely follow these instructions. This will do it just as well. However, not everybody watching this video nor all of our clients are necessarily using WordPress, let alone SiteKit. I don't like using this method for two reasons. Number one is because I don't like installing plugins on our sites. I like to have our sites to have the minimum amount of plugins as possible. And then two, the way that I'm going to do it is going to be way more universal. It'll work almost in any situation. But if you're not on WordPress, you can click the instructions here and you can change it based on, whatever CMS you have. So if you're on Wix, you click on Wix, it'll show you how to do it in here. So it's pretty straightforward from here. We're going to go to install manually. So when we click on install manually, it's going to show you the Google tag here. It's going to show you our website. What's more important here is that we just navigate to our website and we need to find a place to actually install it on this. So if you're on WordPress, we just need to log in. All right, so I went ahead and logged in to our WordPress test website. I just skipped all the login process to avoid any kind of password stuff. But once we're back here, if you're familiar with WordPress, you know what this looks like. You know what you're looking at here. Depending on whatever website builder you're using, it could look a little different. What you want to try to find out is you want to try to find where you can place a code in the head tag of your website. So in your instructions here, it actually tells you where to put it. It says, place it immediately after the head element. Don't add more than one Google tag to each page. So I need to find out where in my website I can install this code. Normally what people will do is they'll just install like a plugin in WordPress. They'll go to like appearance, plugins, installed plugins, or I guess add plugin here. We're going to click on add plugin. Then they might search like a code injector plugin, and that'll make it really easy for them to type in code. Like codes, it'll make it really easy to plug that in. However, we use Divi on WordPress, which is just a visual builder. And so I know that in Divi, and if I go to my theme options here, there's a tab called integration. I can go in here and I can place that code right here. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to copy this code and I'm going to plug it in right there. And you'll see that this says add code to the head of your blog. Don't get confused because this says blog. Blog is usually just like interchangeable with website. So just keep that in mind. I place this tag in here. That's all I really need to do. I'm going to hit save changes. And that's it. The tag is installed. So now that we've installed the tag, we should probably test it to make sure that it's working. And there are 3 really simple ways to do this. So the first really simple way is to just head back over to your installation instructions. And right in here, you can literally just hit the test button and you could test to see if that tag is on there. When you get a green check mark, you're good to go. The tag is already on there. The other thing that we'll do is we'll go to Tag Assistant, which is a Google tool. I think it's just tagassistant.google.com. If you add a domain, so we're going to add our domain. It's going to be everything, right? It's going to be the HTTPS, www. You're just going to copy and you're going to paste that in. Remember, it's got to be exact with the trailing slash and everything. And then we're going to hit connect. So now what it's going to do is it's going to open our website in a new window. And then if we just kind of navigate it a little bit, we're going to start seeing things firing in this view. This is telling us that, yes, this, in fact, the tag is on the site and these elements are firing. So there's a page view, there's user engagement. All of those are, in fact, firing. The last thing you can do to test this, if you just need 3 things to determine whether or not something's working, you can go back to your Google Analytics account, go to reports, and then go to real-time overview or real-time pages. That's probably what I recommend. You'll see that there's data coming through on your real-time dashboard. This was me just engaging on this. So if I actually go, like, there's nothing here. If I actually go to visit site here and I start navigating, you're going to see a spike. Oh, there it is. We see additional pages kind of popping in there. So we know that it's tracking in real time. We know it's tracking and everything's working. Congrats. You set up Google Analytics. You and your marketing person will thank you a year from now. You can now explore and see what users are doing on your site. Later, you'll probably want to explore how you can track when users complete specific actions on your site, like filling out a form or calling you. Google Analytics will track how many users were on your site and where they came from, but how can you know which of those users actually contacted you? That will be another topic for another video. For now, that's it. If you have any questions about the setup, feel free to reach out to us at contact@evergrowmarketing.com, or you can leave a comment on this video down below. And we'll see you in the next one. Happy tracking.